Hello, my name is Mark, and I thank you so much for coming by today. If you've never heard of the Portable Painter Watercolor Palette, it is a wonderful tool to just load your paints into and go out on the road or travel or do whatever you like to do outside of the house, and this palette will go anywhere with you. I love mine, except there's one small thing about it that I noticed that we'll talk about in just a minute. The company that produces the Portable Painter Watercolor Palette just announced that in 2020 they'll be releasing the micro version of this, which is a 6-pan palette that fits in the palm of your hand. I can't wait to get my hands on it and check it out. Meanwhile, you can find a review on parkablogs.com. That's Teoh's webpage, where he does tons of reviews. Teoh is a fantastic artist and a great reviewer of products of all kinds. He is actually the person that gave me my watercolor palette, the first one, the original one. I won it in one of his giveaways. So I'm grateful for that, Teoh. Thank you. And I love your review of the micro palette. Can't wait to get my hands on that. But my palette, well, like I said, I love this thing. However, I did notice that there are these little grids between each palette that take up a lot of room when you add them up. So what I decided to do was I wanted to play with this thing and see if I could modify it. So I'm going to take my Dremel 3000, which is a cutting tool. I have a box cutter here, and I have like some safety goggles that, of course, you got to protect your eyes because little pieces will fly up with the Dremel. I have my safety mask. They're not just for, the coronavirus anymore. They're still used for breathing protection, and just some handy tools that I'll be using along the way. So if you take your watercolor palette, if you haven't seen it before, this is a good introduction for it. I won't do a review. There's tons of reviews out there for it, so you can check that out. But I'm going to take this watercolor palette and just open it up, and you can see it's got all these different components to it. And I love the palette that I have. No complaints about it. It works perfectly. There's no complaints that way. But I did see room for improvement, just a little modification. So with a little effort, a little elbow grease, I'm going to take out these pans of color. I'm going to set them aside, and I'm just going to try to see if I can take those grid lines there, where the pans fit in. I saw room to improve this a little bit. What I was thinking was, I can add 2 more colors if I just remove those grid lines. Now, those grid lines are great for support, but I don't think they're highly necessary. They're great for manufacturing, and when they produce this product, I'm sure that that's part of the mold, and it works fine, and it keeps everything really sturdy. However, I also know that I can just cut this thing down a little bit, get rid of these grid lines, and sorry if this sounds like you're at the dentist's office, but once I cut away a little bit, and I'll turn this, I'll turn the whirring sound down for you so you don't have to listen to that. But once you cut these grid lines out, you'll see that it opens up into just an open channel, which makes room for extra pans. So that was my intention here. It took me probably about 20 minutes to an hour, somewhere in that range, maybe 30 minutes to just cut them all out and get it smooth enough, but another maybe 20-30 minutes. You can see I'm just going in enough to get these out. You can still see that they're really sturdy, so this is going to take some time. And if you look at the grid on the bottom, they're already opened up, so I want to be careful not to cut out the bottom pieces. I just want to cut out the grid lines. So I don't want this thing to fall apart on me, so I'm not going to cut all the way through. I'm just cutting deep enough that I can make sort of a groove in the palette just to put new pans in. And so that's what I'm going to do. I only cut down as far as I needed to. And I'm sorry it got a little blurry here. There's really not much you need to see here. I'm just maybe the technique of what I'm doing. So being very, very careful, obviously, with my tools and wearing my safety glasses. I don't want anything flying up at me. Once I get to this point, you can see I go in with a sort of a grinding bit, and now I can grind away the plastic areas to smooth that out a bit. So what I'm trying to do is just give this thing a smooth, open area, which it's not easy. This thing is really well made, and I support the product as it comes out of the box. So I don't recommend trying this if you've never done it before. If you're familiar with these kind of tools and it's something you might like to try, this is me. This is what I like to do. I like to have fun with this kind of stuff, and I like to have fun with my tools. So why not just try something different? And it's going to be beneficial for me in just modifying this palette a little bit to add 2 extra colors. I like that because even though I have a really great set of colors, those 2 more colors come in so convenient when you have, when you're out in the field and you have that time to paint and you want to have the extra colors and you don't want to mix them or whatever. So this is a great way to add 2 more colors without really spending money or getting a new case and keeping the original portable watercolor palette with you, the portable painter palette. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting some thick double-sided tape down. It's this sort of foamy tape, and I'm going to peel up that the backing of the tape here, so you'll see that it reveals the sticky side. Now it's not perfect, it's a little bit lumpy because I didn't smooth it out 100%. There's still that bottom backing that I showed you before, so I don't want to push through that and I don't want to cut those out. So it's a little bumpy, not too bad. It's not too bad at all, actually. So once I start putting in the new pans, you can see instead of 6 colors in each row, or 12 colors total, I now have 7 per row and 14 colors total. So that to me is worth the time, the 20 minutes to an hour that it took to do this, just to get the extra colors, because I know I'll use this palette even more now, just having an extra 2 colors. What colors I'm going to put in there, I'm not even sure yet, but the base colors that I have now, they work just great for me. And like I said, this product is fantastic right out of the box, so I don't recommend everybody doing this unless you have the expertise or the familiarity with these tools. Here I'm just using a straight blade right from that box cutter to cut down a piece of this tape that I put in the middle just to keep these secured in the middle there. There's a gap between the rows that I wanted to make sure was stable. Now what I can do later is I can come back and I can pull these pans out, take out that tape if this is what I like, and I can actually make a platform on the bottom, which will be a little bit smoother. It won't be as bumpy. Whatever I want to do. There's a million ways I can adapt this and modify it even further. But now I'm happy. It still fits perfectly fine within its case. These little water containers that wrap around it. It's perfect. This is great for me, and I'm really happy that I chose to take the time to do this. This was just a fun project. Before that new micro version of the palette comes out, this was a great way to get me back involved with my portable painter watercolor palette and add 2 more colors. And you can see here I've got the 2 empty pans. It's ready to go, and I can't wait to get out and use this again. So I really hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you so much for coming by and watching today. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'd love to bring you more content like this. And if you have any other suggestions, please throw it down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.